How's it going, you wonderful people? It's Jay, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the biggest gaming anniversaries of 2022. A new year, a new list of incredible games and franchises celebrating milestone anniversaries this year. If you check out our blog, link below, there is a huge list of games and franchises, and if you create content, I hope this will help you out this year. So in today's video we're going to be looking at some of the highlights. We've got amazing franchises celebrating anniversaries this year. You've got Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Mega Man, Metal Gear, Ratchet Clank, so many incredible and timeless franchises. So let's take a look. We start the year with the 30th anniversary of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link for the NES, a very different chapter in the Hylian Adventure series. Link in a rare 2D platforming tale, taking down Ganondorf's minions in sweet side-scrolling dungeons. Did you know that the arcade classic and the sequel to Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man, was an early example of game modding? Originally designed as a mod, the developers ended up winning a pitch for the concept with Midway, and the rest is history. If there's a classic game that deserves to be in the best RPG list of all time, it has to be the iconic and groundbreaking PS1 adventure Final Fantasy VII. The game spanned 4 discs and brewed up a timeless story. Keep rolling. A lot of fans talk about the classic Mega Drive or Sega Genesis Sonic games, but what about the Sonic Advance series? It turns 20 this year. The GBA Sonic titles are amongst the best takes for the blue blur. Grab a gun and get running. One of the earliest examples of frantic side-scrolling shooting has to be Contra. It smashed into arcades back in 1987, seeing you face an army of futuristic monsters and crazy 3D styled levels. It's groundbreaking and one of the biggest fan favourites. Can you believe that the Nintendo Switch turns 5 this year? The console smashed expectations with hybrid gameplay and a diverse catalogue of great games. It gave us the legendary Zelda Adventure Breath of the Wild, which also turns 5 this year. Hunting dinosaurs, what is this, Jurassic Park? An adaptation of the comic series. The game saw you play as Turok, a warrior who fights off all sorts of slimy creatures, from aliens to classic dinosaurs. And since the N64 release, there's been a bunch of sequels and even a film. You can probably imagine the dearly beloved theme playing right now. That's right, the incredibly popular crossover series Kingdom Hearts turns 20 this year. Sora's journey as a Keyblade wielder has spawned 2 decades of amazing, emotional and iconic stories. Love side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Streets of Rage or Scott Pilgrim? These 2D brawlers owe a lot to classics like Double Dragon, an arcade hit that took the arcade scene and NES by storm in the late 80s. A string of kicks and punches later, and Double Dragon is still going strong today. Soaring through space as furry animals against a giant floating head? It can only be the groundbreaking Star Fox 64, one of the best entries in the series still. The game has made space waves on the N64 in the 90s through amazing arcade action and incredible routes to master. One of the earliest examples of 3D first-person shooters is Wolfenstein 3D, a technical masterpiece of 3D shooter designs released 30 years ago on DOS and PC. The game influenced and made the genre incredibly popular, paving the way for the shooters we know today. Gonna whip my hair back and forth. The magical platforming series turns 20 this year after 5 awesome platforming games. Having started on the Game Boy Color in 2002, the game sees you playing as a half-genie who battles the devious pirate lady Risky Boots. Anybody for a little bit of farming? Story of Seasons, known outside Japan as Harvest Moon until 2013, celebrates 25 years of crop growing, ranching livestock and gathering minerals. The game first blossomed on the SNES and has seen many seasons of sequels since. Climb, Angel, climb! The young Angel Pit escapes from the underworld and sets out to save the Angel Land. The classic NES adventure was a cult classic with challenging and fun side-scrolling stages. There haven't been too many sequels since, but Kid Icarus lives on. Hideo Kojima's Stealth series celebrates 35 years of action and espionage this year, having originally started as a 2D adventure game on the MSX2 and NES back in the late 80s. It started a whole stealth setup that still shines strong. Even Mario needs a little vacation, right? But it wouldn't be a Mario game without a little bit of chaos and Princess Peach being kidnapped. The Marmite GameCube adventure Super Mario Sunshine turns 20 this year, a seaside soiree of classic Nintendo platforming. Shove a coin in the arcade slot and let's fight. One of the most influential fighting game franchises turns 35 this year as Ryu, Chun-Li, Ken and the cast of timeless fighters redefined the arcade scene many moons ago. One of the most influential and timeless first-person shooters turns 25 this year, an early example of how to get shooting games working incredibly well on home consoles, cinematic missions, addictive multiplayer and a wealth of secrets. Who'd have thought that an experiment with two blokes in cars could turn into one of the best Mario spin-offs to date? The groundbreaking Super Mario Kart turns 30 this year, having given birth to incredible racing games for 3 decades. There isn't quite a fighting game as brutal, as deadly and as gruesome as Mortal Kombat. The nightmare fuel of parents in the 90s, this arcade game gobbled up coins incredibly fast. The series turns 30 this year and is still going strong. Nintendo always redefined what makes a Mario game from classic side-scrollers to timeless 3D platformers, and one of the biggest shifts and most incredibly loved adventures has to be Super Mario Galaxy. Incredible levels, tight mechanics and a gorgeous story. After working on Spyro, developer Insomniac wanted to work on something fresh and brewed up a stream of platforming hits with the Ratchet Clank series, a unique blend of action, platforming and a whole bunch of futuristic tools at Ratchet's disposal. Speaking of futuristic weapons, Crysis turns 15 this year, a series of shooters revolving around advanced military exoskeletons, armed warriors that go up against North Korean soldiers and of course, a race of aliens called the Ceph. Sleuthing shooter series Splinter Cell turns 20 this year, telling the story of Sam Fisher, a highly trained agent of the NSA, using the environment to control Fisher, sneaking and sleuthing about in the dark using trifocal goggles. Could the traditionally 2D Mario series make a jump to 3D? The question was answered 20 years ago with the Metroid Prime series from Retro Studios, a first-person sci-fi blockbuster lying like no other. The series has cemented its own place in the Metroid universe. Humans and alien races have colonized the Milky Way galaxy in the distant future. Yes, it's the 15th anniversary of the groundbreaking Mass Effect series. Deep storytelling, world building, and an emphasis on player choice has made the series a massive hit. Gen 3 of Pokémon will be turning 20 this year. Do you feel old yet? In November, Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire turns 20. Yes, the first of the games to be brewed up for the Game Boy Advance, catching critters and battling trainers across the Hoenn region. Sega brought the super blue speedy hedgehogs into living rooms in 1991, so what about adorable two-tailed foxes the following year? Given how super popular Sonic's debut was, a sequel upped the ante as one of the Sonic's best games to date. Whilst Mario Kart holds the crown as the karting champion of all time, there was a game 25 years ago that borrowed it. Diddy Kong Racing built on the formula with an amazing adventure mode, different vehicles and incredible boss battles. Hop in a car, it's time to hit the streets for a little bit of crime. How the series has evolved from its top-down roots to 3D escapades with crashing helicopters and planes. GTA turns 25 this year, having influenced a whole genre of games since. One of the most influential shooters of the 90s has to be Quake 2. The sci-fi shooter sees you take on the role of Bitterman, a marine who tries to prevent an alien invasion of Earth. Throw in an addictive multiplayer feature and mods for a delicious FPS game. Grab that wind baton and let's control the seas! One of the most groundbreaking and effortlessly charming Zelda games turned 20 this year. Despite the Marmite reception at the time, The Wind Waker lives on, a colourful, majestic adventure that's just full of heart. Robot Masters, rise up! The Blue Bomber celebrates 35 years of pinpoint pixel platforming perfection this year. Challenging side-scrolling stages and unique bosses make Mega Man one of the all-time greats. There are so many JRPGs out there these days, but one franchise that soars above as truly timeless must be Final Fantasy. From the early days of Pixel Battle to Mammoth World and gorgeous cinematic remakes, there's nothing quite like a Final Fantasy adventure. The Gran Turismo or GT series is turning 25 this year, one of the finest racing franchises to date, and one that features a whole wealth of super detailed cars and physics. It's all about vehicles with thousands to choose from for the track. So, what do you think of this year's lineup of incredible anniversaries? Don't forget to check out our blog, link below, for the full list of anniversaries. If you like this video, if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button. If you want to see more geeky, more gaming and more Nintendo videos, you may want to subscribe. Before you move on to the next video, be sure to check out our exclusive merch, geeky and gaming designs voted for by you. Links are below. And There we go, 2022 anniversaries in a nutshell. We hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.